my dear ladies, have I got a new study to tell you? You may not really want to hear it, but we all really do need to hear it and think about what it's telling us. Hi, I'm Dr. Branyon with New Hope Unlimited, and I want to thank you so very much for being with me today. It means a lot to me, and I hope I've got some good, interesting news for you. So let's get started. Well, before I get started into it, I want to say that I'm just like most all females. We love to go get our nails done. Know what I mean? Yeah, I'm sure you do. We love to go and get our nails done, and I've grown up most of my life with nails that are thin and they chip, and I just had awful nails. And then I learned that if you keep nail polish on them, it's going to make them stronger and thicker and work. And of course, I didn't know much better. You could even buy nail polish that makes your nails stronger. Well, then I got hooked into going to get the gel polish. You know, the gel polish, and Lucy says she thinks I shouldn't do that either. Lucy's my dog here. And she has decided it's time to eat. Let's hope she'll wait just a minute. But you know what I'm talking about. You go get the gel polish, it's hardened, you put them under that UV light, and I love the French manicure because it always makes my nails look clean and they are polished, and I don't have to wear a color, because in medicine, well, in the old school when I was growing up, they taught that nurses and doctors should never use color, and that we should always keep our nails short. Well, I always had to keep my nails short regardless because they always chipped all the time. So a couple of months ago, I was reading an article that said when you use polish, that's actually the culprit for making your nails thin and breaking. And it kind of convinced me that I should stop for at least 2 months and just give it a try doing what they said to do. So at that point, I was a little tired of not wanting to go to the salon and sit there and waste my time, and I just didn't want to do it. I didn't have the patience at the time, and that takes a lot of patience just to sit there when you're got a busy life kind of going. So I decided, what the heck, I'm going to try it. Well, it said definitely to get you some jojoba oil, so I got it. It's organic, supposedly, and I got it off of Amazon. I think you can get it most anywhere, but I wanted the organic. And basically every day you put the oil on your nails, not just around your cuticles, but on the nails, and it soaks into the nail part. So I've done that about 2 months, and I will be honest, I was not really believing that it was going to be real, but I have to tell you, no polish, and my nails, they don't look very well right now because they are sort of not shaped, because I haven't learned how to do that yet. But I will tell you, my nails are looking better. They're not chipping, and they are grown. I haven't had nails this long in, I don't think, any time in my entire life, to be honest. So I'm kind of proud right now. So it works. But this morning, I was reading an article, a new study that just came out last week, January the 17th, 2023. And it came from the University of California in San Diego. And the researchers studied the ultraviolet light emitting devices that are used for drying the gel nail polish to cure that nail polish. You know those machines that we would put our hands in, and the ultraviolet light dries the polish. And we can go 2, 3, well, if you're lazy like me, I'd even try to go even 4 weeks, but the polish would stay on. And that would seem nice, but always when I'd go to put that hand in that, I was always just a little worried, what was it doing? Well, this this study that we might not want to really listen to, but we need to listen to because I do believe it, came out and they found that the use of these devices would lead to cell death and cancer-causing mutations in the human cells. Now, what does that mean? Listen to this. There is lots of studies on tanning beds, and they have been proven to cause cancer. Lucy, hold on, just hold on. But they've been proven to cause cancer, and that they're carcinogenic. Proof. The UV spectrum light for tanning beds can be anywhere, listen to this number, keep this in your mind, anywhere from 280 to 400 nanometers. 280 to 400 nanometers. Okay, these devices that are used in nail salons, these little tiny machines, guess what the UV light on those are? 340 to 395 nanometers to cure the chemicals that's used in the gel manicures. That is even worse than the tanning beds, to be honest. Now, we're not even talking in this video about the chemicals that's in the manicures, the gel manicures, well, in a lot of the manicures, and a lot of the polish. Now, let's break all this down a little bit. Do you remember when you were a kid and you were playing and you would take a flashlight in the dark and you would put that flashlight, turn it on, put that flashlight on your hand and you could see through? Now, we're not in the dark, but even with being not in the dark, you can see a little bit. Now, if you go further down, it's going to be tougher because we're not in the dark. You can try it yourself if you didn't do it as a kid. But think about that. When you're laying in a tanning bed, the body is thicker. We're bigger than the hand. And our hands are very thin. And so in a tanning bed, you've got much more exposure lengthwise, but in a little UV device for our nails, you are making even greater damage. And I never really thought about it, but our hand, if you put the flashlight up to your hand at night, you'll see what I'm talking about. You can see the veins, you can see the bones, depending on what your flashlight, how big your flashlight is, but you'll see. And think about all of that exposure for those machines, the nail machines. They found that the exposure to these lights can cause mitochondrial and DNA damage in the remaining of the cells that it doesn't kill off right away. Now, it also, it's going to kill the mitochondrial and it's going to change the DNA and make damage for those remaining cells. And they found that it actually resulted in the mutations with patterns that can be observed in skin cancers also. But we're talking not just skin cancers, but many other cancers. The study said that they first saw that the DNA changed and it was damaged. Then the next thing they saw that it was some of the DNA damage does not get repaired. The DNA that really died off and that was just damaged, that it didn't get repaired over time, and sometimes it just didn't get repaired at all, and that it does lead to mutations after every exposure with a UV nail polish dryer. And then they said that they saw the exposure may cause mitochondrial dysfunction, which also can result in cancers of the hand. Now, let me remind you, just because we're talking about the hand, we've been treating cancers. I've been working with cancers for close to 50 years now in some aspect or another. But just because they're talking on this study about the hand doesn't mean that they're leaving out that cancers from anywhere in the body, even in the hand, can migrate to other organs. So that's important to remember. And I'm going to close now before Lucy the dog is just really going to act up now, because I'm paying her no attention, and she gets hungry way too much when I want to do something sometimes. That's her way of getting attention, I know. But I want to thank you for being with me, and please remind yourself how much you love yourself, and tell 3 other people at least every day that you love them too, because it changes. As they say, you cannot create and destroy energy, but you can change. You can change energy, and you can do it just by your energy telling yourself how much you love you and how much you love others. I love you. Okay, Lucy, let's eat.